What is up, guys? I'm your friendly neighborhood web word fanatic, and today I will be putting Magneto through my patented hero charts. So I do want to give a disclaimer really quick. Magneto has not been released yet, and I have not played Magneto yet because he has not been released. But every single one of Magneto's hero identity specific cards have been reviewed through content creators from Fantasy Flight Games. So if you guys do not want to see any of Magneto's cards and you guys don't want any spoilers, then definitely click off of this video because this video will be going through all of the cards in his kit. So I know a lot of you guys may be familiar with this chart that I have right here, where I have the 5 most important categories when evaluating a hero for their power rankings, and I have that right here for Magneto. Since we have already seen every single card in Magneto's kit, I will be able to process all those cards through this chart, but there might be some caveats for how he actually plays and if they are correctly represented through this chart. For example, after I put Cyclops through my ranking system, he got an A tier, right? So from his 15 identity specific cards, he got a 2 out of 3 for his thwarting category, he got a 2 out of 3 for his attacking category, and so on. But actually having played Cyclops, and because his hero ability gives him so much versatility by allowing him to include X-Men allies from any aspect when deck building for him, I actually felt that this A tier evaluation was not accurate for how he actually plays. So I ended up actually giving him an S tier evaluation because with the allies in his kit, they help him provide so many different things to round out his kit. Even though they aren't necessarily a part of his 15 identity specific cards, I did feel like it was fair to evaluate them, and when I actually play him, he is very, very powerful. So there might be things I change with Magneto after I actually play him and he comes out, and I will definitely make an official Magneto review after playing him. That being said, I do feel like that my ranking system is pretty accurate most of the time. For example, I actually ran Iceman through these charts before he came out as well, because we've seen all of his cards, and I gave him a B tier ranking with these certain points in these categories. And I do feel like that this was pretty accurate to how he actually plays in a practical sense after I got him and got a lot of plays with him. All right, so that's enough of a disclaimer. Let's go ahead and hop back to Magneto here. And all of his cards are live right now on Hall of Heroes. So if you guys hop over to Hall of Heroes, you guys can see all of his cards. And then you can also see the content creator reviews right here at the bottom right here. So Wrapped in Metal, Magnetic Missile, Master of Magnetism, Magnetic Bubble, and also the card that I got to review, Magneto's Cape right here. Let's go ahead and hop back over to the chart. So the first major category that I think is very important when playing a hero in Marvel Champions is their thwarting. There are 3 subcategories that I evaluate a hero's thwarting by, and that is their stat line, their control, and the cards in their kit. So a stat line that I'm looking for a thwart stat is a stat of at least 2. So the base stat that I think is the most important in Marvel Champions is a thwarting stat, because when a scenario begins, you can immediately thwart off that initial threat on the main scheme or thwart off some side schemes that might start in a scenario. And as you guys can see right here, Magneto has a stat line of 2 thwart, 2 attack, and 2 defense. And this is very, very good. This is pretty much that standard curve that we are looking for. Having a thwart stat of at least 2 or higher is going to be really good. And having a thwart stat of 1 or lower would not give him a point here for the stat line of his thwarting category. But since Magneto does have that very useful base thwart stat of 2, he definitely gets a check mark here for the stat line for the thwart category. Okay, so next subcategory for thwarting is going to be the control. This means, does this hero have a way to safely flip down to alter ego and recover if they need to, or relieve pressure from the villain? And there are so many different ways to do this, right? It could be a way to confuse a villain. It could be a way to prevent threat from going on the main scheme whenever the villain schemes. It could be a way to mitigate threat. But Magneto unfortunately does not have any cards in his hero kit that allows him to flip down safely and prevent the villain from scheming or adding threat. We've seen every single card in Magneto's kit now, and yeah, he has no way to prevent the villain from scheming or like a way to confuse the villain either. So unfortunately, Magneto will not get a check mark here for this box. The next subcategory for thwarting are the cards in Magneto's kit. Does he have good thwarting cards? And usually this would be the main thwart event in a hero's kit. And Magneto definitely has a pretty good thwarting card right here called the Electromagnetic Blast. This is a 2-cost event with the magnetic superpower and thwarting traits. As a hero action, thwart, remove 3 threat from a scheme. If this removes the last threat from that scheme, you may discard an attachment with the text hero action or hero response. That is a super duper powerful ability. I do want to mention that he only has 2 copies of this card in his hero kit. So most heroes have 3 copies of their main thwart event. So it is a little bit less than normal, but this is a very powerful effect because you can discard a nasty attachment like Ronin's Universal Weapon or Venom Goblin's Advanced Glider. And there are so many villains that get attachments with hero actions or hero responses that you have to spend 2 or 3 resources, sometimes even an exhaust, to get rid of that attachment. So having the Electromagnetic Blast in your kit to get rid of that is very, very good. But we're talking about thwarting, right? So only having 2 copies of this card is only 2 for 3 threat removal, which is not the best. but he has other abilities in his kit that allow him to do more thwarting, right? So let's take a look at this 2-cost upgrade right here, Magneto's Armor. As a response, after you resolve your magnetic pull ability, if you discard at least one of the following resource icons, magnetic pull is Magneto's hero ability, where you mill from the top of your deck until you get a magnetic card, and then add that card to your hand. So while you're milling cards, if you discard cards that have a printed mental resource, physical resource, or energy resource, Magneto gets +1 to a corresponding stat, which means he can jump up to a 3 thwart. In addition to that, he also has Magneto's Cape right here, which is super duper versatile upgrade. Is another 2-cost upgrade. As a response, after you resolve your magnetic pull hero ability, exhaust Magneto's Cape and ready up Magneto. So having that extra ready also means that he can thwart again. And since this is a 2-cost upgrade, it's an on-demand ready. So even if he doesn't draw into his electromagnetic blast, that thwart event that we saw over here, he can still ready back up if he has that cape down and still thwart for 2 or 3 again. Because of that, Magneto definitely gets a check mark here for the box here for his thwarting cards. I do think that he is very good thwarting in his kit. So overall for Magneto's thwarting category, he gets a 2 out of 3. Let's go ahead and move on to the next major category, which would be Magneto's attacking ability. The 3 most important categories for attack, in my opinion, are the burst damage, small instances of damage, and also the cost curve of Magneto's attack events. A hero's burst damage in Marvel Champions is very important because a lot of villains will punish you if you cannot deal big chunks of damage at a time. If they have retaliate, each time you do a small chunk of damage, they'll retaliate and hit you for 1. Usually, it's much safer to burst down the villain's final stage in 1 turn because they have higher stats on that final stage and can do more damage or scheme for more. And a lot of them have really nasty 1 reviewed effects. Venom Goblin is my favorite example for this because his 1 reviewed effect on stage 3 is to deal the player 3 phase down encounter cards. So if you give him a turn after flipping him over to stage 3, he can reveal a bunch of encounter cards and it will be really rough to come back from that. An example of a hero that I think has really good burst damage is Spider-Man Peter Parker because he has 3 copies of the Swing Web Kick, which is a 3 cost for 8 damage. So if you place all 3 in 1 turn, that's 24 damage. For Magneto, this was definitely a little bit difficult for me to evaluate, and I definitely went back and forth on this. So his big attack event right here is called Metal Shards. It's a 3-cost event, hero action attack, deals 7 damage to an enemy. If this attack defeats that enemy, gain a tough status card. Now, gaining a tough status card is huge, and obviously that's really good, but it does not attribute anything to the burst damage. So while we are evaluating this card for damage, I'm not really going to take that into consideration. So 3 costs for 7 damage is a little bit under the curve, right? We're looking for a 3 for 8, like Spider-Man Peter Parker's Swinging Web Kick. But if Magneto had 3 copies of this card, I wouldn't mind it so much, but he only has 2 copies of the metal shards here. That means even if he gets built out, he only play 2 of them in 1 turn and do 14 damage. Now, there are multiple ways to play a third one, which I would probably be doing, but you have to use aspect cards like Keep Up the Pressure, for example, and that's not really a part of Magneto's hero kit. The only other card in Magneto's kit that deals damage is his Magnetic Missile right here. It's a 1-cost event. As a hero action, discard a minion with wrapped in metal attached to it, then deal 5 damage to an enemy and stun it. So 1 for 5 is very, very good damage, but how reliable is it to discard a minion with wrapped in metal attached to it? Most of the time, I would say that this is not that reliable, but for the way that Magneto's kit works specifically, it actually is very reliable. So Magneto has 2 copies of wrapped in metal in his kit and 2 copies of the magnetic missile. The wrapped in metal is a 2-cost upgrade, hero form only, attached to a non-elite minion. The attached minion cannot activate and treat its printed text box as if it were blank. This means if you're playing a villain where you need that burst damage, for the entire course of the game while you're setting up your board and trying to gather that burst damage, you want to control the threat and you want to control the minions, right? If you play a wrapped in metal on a minion, it completely negates the entire effects of that minion for the rest of the game. If it has guard and patrol, it does not matter because wrapped in metal makes that minion's printed text box as if it were blank. So there's literally no downside to playing a wrapped in metal and just holding that minion there for the entire game. Then as you're trying to get your burst damage up to defeat the villain, all you gotta do is draw into 1 copy of the magnetic missile right here, and then also 2 copies of the metal shards, and that'll do 7 plus 7, which is 14, plus 5, which is 19 damage. Then Magneto can also use his very reliable on-demand ready with Magneto's Cape, and at least attack for 2 more, so that will be 21 total damage, which is very, very close to Spider-Man Peter Parker's 24 in 1 turn. I do want to add that this is kind of on the lower end and almost the worst case scenario for Magneto, right? If he can get another ready with Utopia, or if he can get some stat buffs with his Magneto's armor, I do think it is very, very close, but I think Magneto has just enough burst damage, in my opinion, for me to give him this check mark for this box. Let's move on to the next subcategory, which is small instances of damage. In Marvel Champions, small instances of damage is very important. It will help you ping off toughs from enemies and also help you deal with minions and control the board. If a hero has piercing in their kit, I'll also attribute that to having multiple instances of damage because they can knock off that tough right away without pinging it off first with another source of damage. Magneto definitely has multiple instances of damage in his kit, and you guys know it's going to be because of my favorite card, the card that I got to reveal from Fantasy Flight Games, Magneto's Cape, this 2-cost upgrade that allows him to ready up reliably on demand every single turn, which means that he can always base attack and also play this card and get another activation to knock off a tough, to attack a minion twice, or if Magneto's stunned, he can activate one time, get rid of the stun, and ready back up with Magneto's Cape. So yeah, I mean, just having the cape by itself, having it on demand ready, will automatically give a hero multiple instances of damage. In addition to that, like we just talked about, Magneto has 2 copies of the metal shards in his kit. He also has 2 copies of the magnetic missile, and then he also has 2 copies of the wrapped in metal, which I will also contribute for his category because this card helps Magneto deal with minions, right? If there's any non-elite minion in play, all you gotta do is pay 2 to play a wrapped metal on that minion, and that minion is pretty much gone. There are no negative consequences to just keeping that minion in play and having them be wrapped in metal because they'll never activate, they have no effects, and they can't guard or patrol. Because of that, Magneto can definitely handle tough stats cards, he can definitely handle minion control, and he can definitely handle if he gets stunned, getting rid of that stun. The third subcategory for damage is going to be the cost curve of Magneto's attack events, and I definitely think that he has a pretty good cost curve. The magnetic missile right here is 1 for 5 damage and a stun, which is very, very good. You also have the metal shards right here, which is 3 for 7 damage. Not the best. We're really looking for 3 for 8, but just 1 less damage is not that bad. And you gain a tough stats card if you defeat an enemy. And Magneto also has his helmet right here, which he can exhaust to generate a wild resource for a magnetic card, like the metal shards and a magnetic missile. He also has good economy with his magnetic pull ability to discard from your deck until you get a magnetic card, which you can always use as a resource to pay for those attack events. So Magneto definitely gets a checkbox here for his cost curve for his attack events, and for Magneto's attacking ability, I gave him a 3 out of 3, a perfect score. Let's move on to the next major category, which would be Magneto's survivability. The first subcategory that I have for that will be a hero's identity card itself. Does the hero have something printed on their alter ego or on their hero side of the card that gives them extra survivability? The reason why I think that's so important is because if you get unlucky and you don't draw into any cards to set up or build up your defenses, can your hero still survive a rough villain phase where the villain activates multiple times? And unfortunately, I do not think that Magneto has that, right? So let's take a look at his alter ego and hero card. So for Magneto's alter ego side right here, Eric Lenscher, he has 3 recovery, which is very normal. He has 10 hit points, which is very normal. And for his hero side, he has 2 defense, which is also the norm. Having 3 or more base defense or having extra hit points like 11, 12, or even higher would definitely fulfill this category for me, but Magneto does not have that. His alter ego ability Survivor is a response after you change this form, shuffle the top 3 cards of your discard pile into your deck. I think that's very powerful, but it does not give him extra survivability. His hero ability here, Magnetic Pull, action discard cards from top of your deck until a magnetic card is discarded, add that card to your hand. That also does not add to his survivability, unless when you trigger Magnetic Pull, you can get metal shards to your hand and there's a minion play, you defeat the minion with metal shards and then get a tough stats card. Or if you can do this combo right here with the wrapped in metal and then play magnetic missile to stun the enemy, or if he can get his magnetic bubble, which is also a magnetic card that can protect him because it has a force interrupt. When you would take any amount of damage, place it here. Then if there's at least 6 damage on this card the magnetic bubble. So this is definitely a great way to shield Magneto, but I do not think that is reliable for him to count on getting one of those cards with his magnetic pull ability because you can't tutor it from your deck. You have to stop as soon as you get any magnetic card, and every single card in Magneto's kit is magnetic, so you may not get that card. And there's a lot of different things that you need to work out perfectly for him to get the defense from the magnetic pull ability. So I definitely do not think that Magneto deserves a point here for his identity card having survivability. That being said, he definitely gets a check mark here for this box for the cards in his kit giving him survivability. And it's just the exact same cards that we just talked about, right? The metal shards, if he can get a tough stats card from that card, if he can trigger the wrapped in metal, it will block out a minion, help him survive against that minion. If he plays a magnetic missile, he can stun the villain. And if Magneto gets out his magnetic bubble, he is entirely protected for the next time that he would take damage. So this is a very powerful card. Magneto definitely has good cards in his kit that add to his survivability. Finally, the third subcategory for survivability is going to be a hero's healing ability. And I think that this is very important in Marvel Champions because there are some villains that you cannot block off all the damage from. You will have to find a way to recover somehow in order to survive that scenario. And Magneto has 2 cards in his kit that add to his healing ability. The first card is going to be Asteroid M. So let's take a look at it right over here. It's a 2-cost support. As an alter ego action, you can exhaust Asteroid M, shuffle the topmost magnetic card in your discard pile into your deck, and then heal 1 damage from your identity. This is a good effect, but the healing is pretty lackluster, only being able to heal 1 damage from your identity. If you flip down to Alter Ego, you can use it as for M to heal 1. Then next turn, you start to turn Alter Ego, so you can exhaust it again to heal another 1. So you can pretty much heal for 2 damage every single time you flip over to Alter Ego, which is something, but it's definitely not going to do it for me if this was the only card that he had in his kit. But as you guys know, the way that I evaluate healing, if a hero has an on-demand ready, this to me gives the hero versatility and a very reliable way to heal. And Magneto definitely has that. As we talked about before, my favorite card, Magneto's Cape. After you resolve your magnetic pull ability, exhaust Magneto's Cape and ready Magneto. That means if Magneto is in hero form, he can thwart or attack and deal with the board, then trigger his hero ability Magnetic Pull, then use Magneto's Cape to ready back up, flip down to Alter Ego, and easily recover for 3. Then next turn, when Magneto starts to turn Alter Ego, he can immediately exhaust to recover for 3, flip over to hero form, trigger the Magnetic Pull hero ability, and then use the Cape to ready back up and thwart or attack and deal with the board again. This is the same thing for when I evaluated Iron Man, which is a hero that I think has really good recovery because of his arc reactor, which gives him that on-demand ready. So he can use that basic exhaust recover, but also ready back up and use that basic exhaust again to thwart or attack and just handle the board. Because of that, Magneto definitely gets a checkmark here for the healing box for survivability. And I definitely think that Magneto has decent survivability, and I give him an overall score of 2 out of 3 for that category. The next most important major category for a hero, in my opinion, will be the hero's economy. Just like for a hero's survivability, I think it's very important for a hero to have good economy on their identity card. This means when you start a scenario, you can already have a boost to your economy to play cards down, and you don't need to rely as much on drawing your resource generators or building out your board to already be able to play cards and do things. Let's take a look at Magneto's identity card again. So in Alter Ego, he has a hand size of 6, which is normal. In hero form, hand size of 5, which is also very normal. His Alter Ego ability allows him to shuffle the top 3 cards of your discard pile into your deck, but it does not add anything to his actual hand. So while it does allow you to recur cards, he doesn't get extra economy from it. Where he gets that extra economy is from his hero ability, Magnetic Pull. As an action, discard cards from the top of your deck until a magnetic card is discarded, add that card to your hand. Even if the magnetic card that you get is not good for the current situation that you're in, you can still use it as a resource because every single one of Magneto's magnetic cards has a printed resource icon. So on turn 1, Magneto starts the game off with 6 cards in his hand. He can flip over to hero form, trigger magnetic pull, and get 1 more card to his hand and have 7 cards in the hand to start off the game. This is super duper powerful, so Magneto definitely gets that checkmark here for his identity card helping improve his economy. The next subcategory for economy are going to be the cards in the hero's kit. What do they have? Do they have like a resource generator or like resource cards? And Magneto has both of those, right? He has Magneto's helmet right here is a 3-cost upgrade. Magneto gains steady. As a resource, you can exhaust Magneto's helmet and generate a water resource for any magnetic card, which is every single card in his kit. So this is super duper powerful. It will help him pay for metal shards, electromagnetic blasts, Magneto's armor, and so on. Even better than that, in my opinion, is Magneto's resource card, the Master of Magnetism. It is just a magnetic resource card with a printed energy and mental resource. So this is a double resource in Magneto's kit. He can shuffle it back into his deck with Asteroid M. He can also find it with his magnetic pull ability because it does have that magnetic trait. And having that double resource that can be used to pay for anything is always very, very good. So Magneto definitely gets a check mark here for this box, having good cards in his kit that help out with his economy. The third subcategory that I have for Hero's Economy is going to be the cost curve for all their cards. When you play this hero, does it feel like that they can run smoothly? Does it feel like they can easily play all their cards and they don't feel clunky? Although I have not actually played Magneto myself, he definitely seems to be a very high economy hero and definitely on the upper end of that. He has the resource generator like we talked about. He has the magnetic pull ability. He has decently cheap cards, and he also has these double resources right here to help him pay for it. It definitely looks like Magneto will not have trouble paying for the cards in his hero kit. Overall, I gave Magneto a 3 out of 3 for his economy. I think he definitely has very good economy. The fifth and final major category for a hero, in my opinion, that's most important, is that hero's versatility. And we have 3 subcategories right here. The first one is the in-game versatility. Can this hero deal with a multitude of different situations in-game, and can they play in different type of ways? Magneto definitely can do that, right? He has his alter ego ability, Survivor, to shuffle cards back in. Asteroid M also has an alter ego action, so he can play Injustice and get a lot of recursion going on. He has Magneto's armor right here to give him +1 to any set that he needs it and an extra boost for that turn. He has the electromagnetic blast right here to deal with nasty villain attachments. He has metal shards, which can give him a tough stats card. He has powerful ways to deal with minions with wrapped in metal. He can use a magnetic missile to stun an enemy. He also has a magnetic bubble, which gives him retaliate 1. This can also leave room to a very powerful perfect defense protection build, because even if he takes damage, he won't actually take it because it goes on his bubble, so you can trigger stuff like unflappable or hard to ignore. And once again, guys, one of the most versatile things in Marvel Champions is having a ready, because you can thwart and then attack, you can attack and then thwart, you can thwart and then recover. And Magneto's cape being that on-demand ready is so powerful and adds so much to his versatility, really rounding out his kit. So he definitely gets a check mark here for the in-game versatility. Next is going to be cancels. Does this hero have encounter card cancels in their kit? And I think that this is very important, like the enhanced fire sense. If you get really, really unlucky and the villain gets like the perfect nasty encounter card that will just end your game, can you cancel it? And unfortunately, Magneto does not have any card in his kit to cancel encounter cards, so he will not get a check mark here for that. And then the final subcategory that I have is going to be aspect versatility. Can this hero play in multiple different aspects? And this isn't necessarily the most important thing in my opinion when playing Marvel Champions, but this is a good indicator for how versatile a hero is. And like we talked about before, for his in-game versatility, I think that he can definitely play in every single aspect very, very well. For leadership, he can afford so many expensive allies because his economy is so good. For justice, he can flip down a lot and recur cards with Survivor. For protection, having that magnetic bubble with Retaliate 1 to do damage during the villain phase, and also soak all damage can help him get that perfect defense engine set up and also trigger that perfect defense engine. And then obviously, Magneto has amazing minion synergy where he can play Wrapped in Metal and just hold that minion in place to trigger cards like Into the Fray and chase them down whenever you draw them. Magneto's overall score for versatility is 2 out of 3. And overall, guys, I gave Magneto an S tier evaluation here. He is only missing 3 check marks, one for Thwart, one for survivability, and one for versatility. And every single time I have a hero that has 1, 2, or 3 check marks missing, I give them that S tier evaluation. I think that Magneto would definitely be one of the strongest heroes in Marvel Champions. If you guys have talked to me about this, or if you've been following the channel, you guys know that I am super duper hyped for him. Hopefully, I am not being biased here. I do think I was pretty objective in this evaluation, and Magneto definitely has all the check marks that I'm looking for in a hero for them to be very powerful. Definitely let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment. Do you agree or disagree? What specific categories do you agree with, and what specific categories do you disagree with? Will Magneto be one of the strongest heroes in Marvel Champions, or will he even be the strongest hero in Marvel Champions? Or am I completely off the mark and he's going to be super duper weak? Let me know what you guys think. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.